Welcome everyone to another Wealthfare interview. Today we have someone very special with us, someone that I look up to personally. We have Rohan Barua from Expand My Business. He is the co-founder of Expand My Business. Welcome Rohan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, Devam, it's a great initiative that you guys are doing, and I hope I can answer the questions that you guys are looking for and give any knowledge that I can part with. Yeah, to all you people over there.
So I'm just going to begin. Rohan, can you take us through first for the uninitiated? Could you tell us what Expand My Business is and what it aims to do?
Okay, so expand my business or ExMyB for short, just in case, because that's probably how I'd be referring to it in the future of this interview as well. We are a dedicated B2B service procurement platform, right? So in today's day and age, let's say if you're a business startup company that you're looking to outsource any business services, right? That is the way that you reach out to someone like me, and I'll be able to help you out in this entire, in the entire process. So currently there are platforms where, let's say if you're on a consumer level, if you need to buy products, you have the likes of Amazon, Flipkart, Shopclues as such, right? When you talk about products on a B2B level, you have the likes of Alibaba, even Amazon again, Udaan, companies such as these who do it for a larger B2B scale. Coming to services now, right? You have companies such as Urban Company who do it on a consumer level service based aggregator, right? But when it comes to professional services on a B2B scale, right, to help you expand your business, there isn't a dedicated platform that exists right now. So that is the problem that we are solving. If you're looking out for, to outsource any of your services for your business, that's where I'll be able to help you out. And the way that my product is set up, the way that my service is done for you guys, for whoever it is that's taking it, that's where my ExMyB comes in and would be able to take it there from A to Z.
All right, that's lovely. And of course, this is very interesting. We know that Expand My Business is two co-founders. So, can you take us slightly through the beginning of Expand My Business and how this concept turned into the startup that you are now?
Okay, so Nishant, the other co-founder, he's we've been from the same college back in VIT Vellore, where we were pursuing our mechanical engineering. And at that point of time, we had met. We were just doing some. He was actually heading Toastmasters, and I was heading ISEC over here in VIT. And we were doing some work together, and that's where we first interacted. And he's 1 year senior to me, so that's where we first interacted. And we stayed in touch. Obviously, during the remaining of college, I'm sure you're familiar that there are a lot of projects that need to be done, final year projects and things like that in engineering, right? So that's how we kept meeting up in classes. We had some labs, we did some other work, and even when it came to the final year, so he had done his internship in PwC, his 6 month internship when he was finally finishing college, and any sort of help that he needed over here, I was helping him out on the ground at Vellore. And yeah, so we've known each other for over about, I think it's been more than 5 years now. And it started off as a quite a professional relationship, but it's gone to something that's become quite close. And we're we're really really good friends, and we work well together. And touch wood, and once after college, Nishant was working with PwC, and that's where actually the problem first struck, right? So he had a home decor brand, and he started dealing with selling products, outsourcing them from across India with all these handicrafts, and when he was selling in his hometown of Chandigarh. So that's when he started realizing that, I need to start expanding my horizons a little bit, start selling to more people. And that's where we first came across the problem that there wasn't a place where, who could help him out, or someone who could make his website for him, to do the marketing, the first two steps that you would essentially want to do when expanding any business. And it took him about 40-45 days to find someone, and it still didn't work out because he still wasn't sure about who was the right person, where the money was going, how it was secure. So there were a lot of different problems like that. And meanwhile, after my college, I had joined Adidas, where it was a fantastic company in terms of the kind of shoes and the kind of quality and the processes that they were making. But there were some areas where I felt that there could be some innovation in terms of how the scouting of vendors and everything was done as well. And again, we were both in our respective jobs, and we decided to meet one day because we were both in Gurgaon. And I think this was back in August or September 2018. We discussed our problems, we were talking about it, and I think that's when we took the plunge and we decided that there was definitely something there that was, being able to get solved. And that's how we started ExMyB back in September 2018. And yeah, that's our story of how we started and haven't looked back since then.
So I'm sure the 2 years that followed have been very interesting for you all. And
They've been fantastic.
in
They've been,
that
yeah.
in that period, a lot of places have talked about expand my business. It's of course been one of those startups where you all have received quite a bit of recognition. One of the places that spoke about you all was the story and cover that you all had on your story, which was just a few months back, if I'm not wrong. And there were some very
Mhm.
interesting points in that article. The first one that caught our attention was that you ran the pilot with 1,500 SMEs. So, for our new entrepreneurs, can you please describe how that proof of concept, that pilot phase works?
Right. So, what we really believe in our business model is that we have to create value, right? Because quality over quantity, value over, creating a sort of business model that won't last over the coming years. These kind of things will not work out, right? You need to build something solid, and that is. What our main aim was going ahead with XMIB, that we really wanted to solve a problem that was unanimous with most people over here. There are over 50 million SMEs in India, and only about 10% of them are, even I think lesser than that, are actually online, right? So the problem that we were looking to solve back then was, it was clear to us, but we weren't really sure how we could market ourselves, right? We needed to know what the essence of the market was, whether people would even pay us, because eventually a business is all about the money that's coming in, right? So whether people would pay us, what kind of response we'd have. So that is in, again, back coming going back to September 2018. um, we wanted to sort of make sure that we were building a product that was great for everyone, and for all the businesses that were there. And that is when when one runs their POC, right? Because you need to make sure that you have a product in hand, right? You have a proof of concept, because you can explain your numbers. "Okay, this is the kind of sales that I've done, this is the kind of product that I'm building, this is my market size," before you raise a round of funding, right? Because when you pick up rounds from investors, this is exactly the kind of questions that they ask you. And nobody is going to put money into you, and if you just say that this is an idea that I have and a problem that I'm solving, right? You need to show validation of that. So that's when we went on ground, right? We tied up with different associations and chapters, and we met many different SME audiences, startup audiences, and accumulating over actually more than 1500. It was actually close to about 2000 SMEs that we had worked closely with. Just finding out the problems, was helping out as many people as we could, seeing where the problems actually started, where the problem sort of ended, what are the areas that we could solve. And that is the entire point of why you run a proof of concept, not only to build trust and confidence for outsiders like investors, such who are putting money into a company, but more importantly, to build confidence in yourself and in your product, that you actually have a product that could last for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and you could essentially make it into a business model.
So now all that work essentially led to you making a very strong foundation. What I'm also very interested in knowing is what was it like acquiring your first customer? And what was the experience that followed? What are the challenges that you incurred? Because I'm guessing it's always very special to acquire that one first customer, the paying consumer, as we say. So, what was the experience that followed?
It's a feeling of elation, yeah, Devam. It's I still remember my customer's first name. I still remember their company. I still remember everything about them. I mean, I remember for most people we've helped in over, it's been almost over 500 plus transactions. We've included some big company names, some international clients, different SMEs, different startups. I remember most of them, right? But my first one, so I'll never forget. It didn't come straight away. It came after, I think, 3 months, 4 months of us starting. That's when it first came. But it's a great feeling. Yeah, it's validation is one that you feel, right? That someone used your product. The fact that someone believed in you, a new company, the fact that someone believed in yourself, in your company, in the fact that they would give you money to help them solve, get their problem solved. it's a feeling like nothing else. It gives you a lot of confidence. It's a different feeling altogether. And I think every startup founder would always remember their first transaction with their client was and who they were. So what followed after that was, just we understood exactly how it is that we needed to pitch, and it gives you the confidence, right, to go and pitch to more people. And Yeah, I think that would be it, right, for like what exactly the feeling was. But yes, a feeling like no other. It's a great feeling. It's after basically all the hard work that you've put into it, that finally someone has come out and used it. um it's super incredible. Just like when you pass an exam after studying maybe for like 3 months, 4 years of your college and getting a degree, right? It's a feeling. It's a big feeling of pride, immense pride. Yeah. And I'm thankful to people around me, to God, to everyone who that happened at that time, and that allowed us to boost people. And that is how I in fact met you as well, Davin. So meeting people such as yourself, meeting some fantastic people along the way, it's all been it's been a cascading effect as well.
No doubt. I think your smile said it all the second I asked the question. So
Yeah.
we already understood how special it was to have that
Yeah,
first client, and we
it
obviously
was.
wish that you have many more to come.
Thank
But
you.
I'm going to dig a little bit into how Expand My Business operates now. While doing some of our research, we realized that Expand My Business uses machine learning and a lot of other technology in the back end to help both their clients and their service providers. Now, and like you said, there are a lot of SMEs today that don't use this technology. Can you tell us a little bit about how that machine learning process works and how that operation behind the scene works for Expand My Business to provide these services seamlessly?
Okay, so I won't get into too much detail as to how the tech part of it works, just because it's extremely tech heavy, right? And obviously, the best person to answer this would be, one of our teammates by the name of Ananteshwar Singh, right? So he's been our, he's been more than an advisor. He's been a part of our team. He's helped us build, some crazy ideas and some incorporate some crazy technology into our vision as well. But he's the kind of guy who has experience. He's worked in companies such as Shop Clues, the Luxury Closet, and currently he's working in a multinational ed tech firm, where he's built product marketplaces from zero to like 1 million users, right? So he really understands where we're going, and most importantly, the kind of role that tech can play, right? So if we've learned anything over the past 10, 20, 30 years, is that technology gets you to a place where no manual labor can get you, right? You essentially going in a lean operation, and your mode should be to go as lean as possible because you're saving on your costs that way. So that is, when we were first starting as well, we knew that we had to use technology in some shape or form or manner, right? And how we use machine learning is, machine learning is mostly done with the help of data, right? You need lots and lots of data to actually start calling yourself a proper machine learning product. And that is what we are doing right now. We're in the process of building up our data, understanding what are the pain points, the knowledge points of what kind of metrics that we need to feed into our machine learning system. And eventually what we would want out of this is, and what we've already started, it's already working, it's again, but it's evolution, right? So what result that we are looking out of this is that it would be so seamless that I could identify any sort of person coming in, could identify what their needs were and provide them with the exact kind of, first of all, vendor that they're looking for, making sure that I take the entire deal from A to Z, all the project work that needs to be done, everything that needs to be done, I can basically enable it through technology. And that is my ultimate vision by why I'm using machine learning and technology at all, for that matter's sake.
You bring up a very interesting point when you talk about data. We've seen the importance of collecting data grow more and more and more over the years. You know, it's also become some sort of saying that the customer is the king, but the ones that bring in the customer is the data, and the data has essentially become the kingmaker now. How important is it for startups to collect this data and to interpret it in the right way in order to keep scaling up business?
That's a good question, Devam. And like they say right now that data is worth more than gold, right? And there's a reason for why they say that. The biggest companies in the world that you're looking at right now, and who we look up to as well, the likes of one of my favorite companies is Google, right? It's just because of the fact that while they give their products everything for free, right, they're adding value to every consumer's life. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to comment on what kind of data and all that they take because everybody has their different opinions on it. And but that being said, um, I guess I would be in one of the audiences where if I'm using, let's just say Google Maps, right, and I'm traveling from place A to place Z, place A to place B, and I come, they recommend me some restaurants based on my location and all. I mean, that's okay, right? Because I'm getting to use all their services for free from a consumer point of view. So data is very important, and just like you're saying, how important is it for a startup or any company actually to understand the metrics of it we have before using it? Because data is as good as garbage if you don't know how to use it, right? You need to make sure that you're picking the right points, using it in the exact form and correct manner that you, and it's not going to come on the first day. It's always trial and error, right? But you need to keep on trying and trying and trying, because essentially then you're going to reach a place where earlier if it took you 10 days to get to a customer, it could help you get there in one day. So that's the kind of impact that it has, and that is why it's so important for so many companies to use this kind of data for the right purposes. Let me get that clear. It's for the right purposes that actually matter. Yeah.
Right. So we spoke about expand my business's clients, the data that you guys are collecting to help yourselves grow and to better understand the needs of your clients. Now, as ExMyB's client base grows, so will the requirement for these service providers that you all are helping out with. You all promise businesses a seamless experience while availing services from these handpicked vendors. But once you all scale up, once you all grow considerably, even more than you all have right now, how will you continue to ensure that sort of quality that comes with the increase in quantity? Because you have to think that that has to be one of the most important parts of any startup is to keep ensuring quality as you scale up. So, do you guys have a plan to continue providing that quality as and how you all grow?
Yes, of course, we do. And our vision does not start with working with every single person across India as a vendor on our platform, right? The reason for I used the word handpicked was because we actually do handpick our vendors, right? I'm okay with just having over maybe 1,000 vendors on my platform. I'm okay with just having a fewer number, 10,000 maybe, rather as compared to like a lakh or two. The point is that quality will essentially always get you further, maybe not faster, but it'll always get you there further, right? So we can't ever take our eyes off the kind of quality that we're focusing on for our clients. So as we scale, as we continue to expand our operations, so one area that we're trying to make our life a lot easier is obviously because we're using technology, but more importantly, we also want to promote good business. We want to, I mean, it may sound like small mouth big shoes, right? But we want to change the way that businesses are being done in India at the moment, right? There are a lot of issues, there are a lot of problem statements for why it is that we started ExMyB, right? And these have been problems that have been running not just in India but in the world for the last X amount of time that I could possibly think of since I was alive. So by making sure that we add this layer of trust and reliability, uh, we're also wanting to promote the way that businesses are done, the way that service vendors speak to clients, the way that clients speak to service vendors, right? So our long term vision with this is not only will we have handpicked vendors back in the future then too, right? But even the ones that we have, they really will value being on our platform, right? They will value the good points of what can I do to get more business, because when you see your vendors around you getting businesses because they are changing the way that their philosophies and things like that, um, essentially anyone in the competition would want to do that as well, right? So I've seen it happen in front of me. I've seen vendors who were earlier not on my platform get on board on my platform because of the way that they've sort of changed a few things in their business and the way that they approach clients. So that's a long-term vision for us. But yeah, again, a handpick for us is very important. We make sure that we onboard our vendors of the highest quality, and they go through quite a few background checks before they just get onboarded.
All right, that's lovely. So we've spoken about how you've built a foundation, how you are going to scale up for the future by ensuring quality. Let's talk a little bit about, and I know this might be slightly sensitive and some information that you can't let us know, but we do know that you all have raised some amount of money from investors. Can you tell us a little bit about how acquiring investors compares or differentiates to acquiring clients, and what are the similarities and sort of differences between how those two sides approach the same business?
Okay. Uh, that's a very good question again. Yeah. In terms of value, it is the same thing that both are looking at, right? A client would want you to make their life easier by solving their problems, whereas an investor would like to see how you are solving the customer's problems. And uh, obviously, if there's value in it, that's when investors would put money in you, and clients would give you money to help them out, right? But apart from that, they sort of go hand in hand. They're, if you get the clients, if you get the kind of responses that you're looking for from a customer base, you would get the investors as well, because getting more clients is a validation of your idea, right? What changes after that is, right, again, I haven't raised any big round or something. We're still, in very early stages. But when you speak to a founder who's, for example, raised like a series A, series B, large rounds of millions of dollars of funding, their answer to this would be very different as well. So I would say that the value that they're looking for would be the same, because they're both looking to essentially give you or put money in you. But you have to make sure that there's actually a problem that is there, and there are customers that are using it, and hence investors will see that, okay, these guys have had 100 transactions in the last 1 week, so there's definitely in the last 1 month, 2 months, so there's definitely some potential, some scope there. I could put in money to rapidly scale up the operations and get this thing moving going forward. But yeah, I think apart from that, investors would want to look at you years in the future from now, right? So it's not about what problem I'm solving right now in 2020, but more so, what is my solution and going to be in 2023? Do you understand where I'm coming from? So I think that would be the biggest difference between how an investor looks at your company and how a client looks at your company. Because a client would want to look at you right now, whereas an investor looks at you right now and knows and wants to know what you're going to be like in 3 to 5 years, or whatever time frame that those individual respective investors have in their mind. So I think that would be the biggest difference.
So, Rohan, we spoke about the importance of investors, we spoke about the foundation, but I want to talk about the next thing that investors will be looking at, and something that will directly affect the future of the company as well. And that's team building. It is very interesting to know that Expand My Business recently also opened up spots for newer employees. So, how worrying is that process of team building for a startup? And we've heard that hiring that first employee is one of the most difficult things that founders have to do. So, is that really the case? And how do you see team building as an activity?
So yeah, it is. It's very important that you pick the right talent, to pick the right people for your team, right? One of our investors and like our advisor as well, who I look up to very highly personally, she was saying that the first 100 people are people who one of the founders in some way or the other have to know personally or interview and make sure that they're coming into the company. So personally for us, how it's been is, we've come across some very talented people. We've met some very fantastic people in our network as well. But yeah, more importantly, it's about finding the right people who can take you to go the long way, right? I think I've said this before during the course of this conversation as well, that it's about going further, right? It's not about going faster. So how do you grow further together? It's if you're, strong, a well built and well packed team. So it's important in finding the people who believe in the company, who believe in the founders, who believe in the product, right? And it's if you're fine, it's not about someone takes their salary, taking working from 9 to 5, going home happy with that kind of life, right? You need to essentially find people who are ready to make some kind of sacrifices, because it's a matter of high risk, high reward, right? So and these things take time. So if you find the right kind of people who believe in you, the people who are ready to sort of, you've heard of many people who've taken massive pay cuts and joined startups because they believe in the vision and they believe that this is something bigger than what they thought that they could essentially achieve, right? On just as individual level, or working in a company. So it's very important in finding those kind of people who believe in the right, in the product, in how you want to go forward, because you can learn everything, right? I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm sitting and we're doing sales, ops, tech, and everything. I'm not doing anything related with mechanical, and you would see that across many people. So skills are something that you could learn, and that's where the line is for a lot of founders, especially personally me and Nishant. Do you draw the line between a functional fit or a cultural fit? Right. So that is where you have to make the decision, and that each founder sort of has to evaluate what they need at that point of time. It's not necessary that everyone will be a cultural fit, right? But at the same time, it's very important that you need the right people to help you build something, or even scale up in a certain manner. So that's, I think that is the main two questions that a founder needs to ask themselves before they hire someone, whether they are a functional fit or a cultural fit. But yes, a team is extremely important, because like you said yourself, investors do look at that when they judge to put money into your team, how you're going to be growing, where do you want to be hiring people from. So yeah, first 100, I guess, would be the very important people, and you need people who believe in your idea and vision so that you can take them in the long way.
Right. So coming to what has been the root of every single conversation nowadays is that very cliche about what the business has been doing during the pandemic. But what's been really interesting to see is that Expand My Business has really stepped up during the pandemic instead of maybe going down. And that was that y'all helped a lot of large companies acquire PPE and kits and something of that sort. Was that like a no-brainer considering that y'all had contacts with multiple vendors across a lot of countries as well?
So actually, there was another thing during COVID, right? A lot of businesses started realizing that they need to go online now, and that is where the biggest idea struck. So yes, PPE kits and all, we were very fortunate to have a network, some of our own clients actually, right? Where we knew that we could supply some of these things, because there were a lot of people, a lot of emergent hospitals, a lot of different institutions that needed it. So that was something that we did, just as like a, you can consider it like a bit like a pro bono. It was, we didn't, it's not like we pursue that all the time, but what we pursued the most was the digital services that were coming, right? So during COVID, actually, the kind of spike that we saw in the vendors coming within a few months. So March was the time of the lockdown, right? So around by the time of May or June, the number of businesses actually that started coming online and becoming our clients, because they were looking to, get their website developed, start their marketing, build an Instagram page, whatever it may be. But that's when people realize that people aren't walking on the streets anymore. Everyone's going to have an online and digital presence. So that was a very, very big boom for us during COVID. And, touch wood, it has been a good last 6 months. And, it's haven't looked back since then after that, because it's just sort of taken a very big boom, and we've got a lot of clients, different vendors who have been coming, just because they realize the importance of going digital and going online, and our value proposition really, really struck to them at that point of time.
So of course, it's great to see that XMyB has grabbed that opportunity when it was presented to
Yeah.
them. Finally, I'm going to end with that one cliche question, which we just have to ask: is where do you ideally see Expand My Business going 5 years down the line, and what do you think the scenario is going to look like then?
So I could bore you with all case studies and numbers, and tell you that it's like a $250 billion market. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what our vision is. Right? We want to be the Alibaba of services. Very simply put. Right? How they sort of manage to encapsulate the entire product phase journey. Right? With a customer looking to buy to getting it delivered to their doorstep. That is what we are looking to be in the next 5 years, and that is our long term vision, right? Making sure that our product is scalable for as many businesses as possible. uh, Reaching out to as many countries as possible, because our solution would definitely is being able to help many people from many different countries as well. uh, but more importantly, on a very personal note, like I had mentioned before, changing the way that businesses are done, right? Adding a certain layer of trust, adding transparency. This is what I personally would go for, from a very visionary philanthropic type of, if I had to use a word. But in terms of numbers, in terms of what we want to achieve with our business, yes, make sure that our product is absolutely top class. The kind of customers we have are absolutely happy with the kind of product and service that they're getting offered, receive. And Yeah, I think in a nutshell, I think that is where our long term vision is and what we're looking to achieve, um, whenever we do, and we're working hard towards it on a daily basis. Yeah.
Of course, Rohan. So we at Wealthfare sure do wish that you achieve what you just said and much more than that. We're already, of course, rooting for you. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for giving us your valuable time. And we hope we can share everything that you've told us with budding entrepreneurs and whoever will listen to us. Because we do believe that the sort of financial and startup and business literacy that founders like you bring to India is something that we want to share truly from the depth
Mhm.
of our heart. So thank you, Rohan, for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Daivam. Thank you, everyone, the team of Wealthfare as well. I wish you guys the best of luck. I think what you guys are doing in educating the right way, to a lot of people who are in college, youngsters such as yourself. I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing. And I actually hope that there's someone, even if I can make an impact in one person's life who's looking at this, it would mean a lot personally for me. So anything I can do to help, and congratulations on setting up everything that you have. And I wish you the best of luck in your journey ahead as well.